All right, today we're going to cover the 3 must-haves and 3 deal breakers for buyers. And with me, we have Sade, and we are going to give out this information today to you, and maybe this is useful for you before buying. So number 1, I found that in many times it's foundations have really, been impacted with the drought, and so a lot of them have been cracked. And so we're coming into a lot of neighborhoods where the foundation is needing work or has been worked on. But number 1, you need to make sure if they've had any foundation issues that there's a transferable warranty at least. Number 2, the HVAC in Texas is a very necessary thing. This is 2 of the most costly things if you have to get that replaced or repaired, the HVAC. So always making sure the age of the house and the age of the air conditioning is okay and won't require you to invest money in to replace it as soon as you buy the house. And the third one that's really costly is roof. With any kind of storm damage and so forth and age, you're going to have some roofs that are compromised. And so that's going to result in costs for repair for walls and all kinds of things. So if you're money conscious and you're looking to buy, these are my top 3 must-haves when you're looking to buy. Sade, what do you have as far as your 3 must-haves?
I like those. Mine are a little different. I think those are good because if you're strapped for cash already, or if your budget doesn't allow you to do major repairs right after you move in, which is probably the truth for a lot of people, then those are great must-haves that you have to check that out before you fall in love with the property. So one of my must-haves from my perspective and just from talking to other people, listening to YouTube videos and things is a location. I feel like if you don't get the location right, then the regret is sometimes bigger because even if the house is stunning and you love it so much, but you hate the location, you don't feel great about that purchase, really quickly. The euphoria wears out within like 6 months or so. So I feel like your must-haves are tied to your location, such as, do you need to be close to your job? Some people don't mind driving an hour to work if they have a beautiful house on the other side of town. And then do you need it to be a quiet area? Meaning that some people have more sensitivity to noise. I don't personally care if it's a little noisy, but I like it a little quiet as well. So I think it just depends on your own tolerance level because it's a big purchase. So why not get it right to begin with? And then the third thing that I think in terms of location is some people like it to be close to a certain school or to certain trails or a green belt and things like that so that they don't have neighbors close to them. So those are my thoughts on the must-haves.
I like those. Yes, that makes perfect sense. Our must-have was we wanted a green belt in our backyard.
Yes.
And yeah. So that was something that we wanted. But yes, as far as quiet, that is something that is very special to a lot of people. As realtors, we cannot guarantee quiet. They're building a entertainment concert venue suddenly in the quiet hill country.
That's
So
true.
a lot of home buyers are like, what just happened? So yeah, this is something that you have to, be aware that there's no guarantee. It could be quiet this year and something completely different next year.
This is true.
And then we get into the absolute, like, you really don't want to buy this house deal breakers.
Okay.
I've run into some real doozies and talked to my clients and said, I'm not sure about this based on X. So I would like to mention 3. Oh my gosh, let's be aware of these. When the seller is saying, you know what, you can buy my house as is. That as is implies that number 1, there's going to be a problem And number two, they don't want to be responsible for it and pay for it and give you credits. So this is something that's already screams, beware. Another one is you do find a cracked foundation. However, and the seller just never bothered to repair it in the first place, or
Mhm.
get any kind of warranty for it. It's kind of
Right.
like they just said, "Oh, well, the house isn't working for me, so I just want to get rid of it." And so the next person takes on the responsibility of taking care of all of the issues that it has, and that could be very costly. So that's my second one. And number three is it's in a flood zone,
Mhm.
or floodplain. Now, waterfront properties, oh, yes. I mean, they are
Okay.
lovely. You've got that great view of the lake and
Sure.
whatnot, but you have to be aware if you're in a flood zone, plain and
Okay.
simple, because your insurance is going to be impacted. How you construct your home is going to be impacted. So those are my three deal breakers. Sade, do
Okay.
you have any in mind?
I have a couple, and
She's
I
like, I have
also,
10.
yeah, I have a couple today, but I'm sure I can think of others now because we're talking about threes
Yes.
to keep it simple, right?
Yes.
So I do like the ones you brought up. Now, again, the first one you brought up has to do with foundation work. So if it's already been addressed, or if you have a structural engineer's report or something similar that shows you the extent of the work needed, maybe that mitigates things, correct? Like
Yes.
that could make
Yes.
you more comfortable moving forward, but it's just good to do your research and do
For sure.
diligence. And then I think that that last one is close to the one that I had in mind, which is mold. So if you've ever, we've had some lawsuits to do with mold in the past in properties undisclosed situations, but sometimes it's not disclosed because it's in the wall and people only see a fraction in the front end. So if your inspection report is showing potential presence of mold because you're already under contract, which is when you do the inspection, then you should do more research. I'm not sure if 100% is a deal breaker until you know more, but
Right.
personally, my tolerance for that would be close to zero. I'd rather buy a house that has never had the kind of water damage to lead to mold in the first place. So,
Correct.
because the remediation process is lengthy, it is very expensive as well. So, you have to know how much you want this home to move forward at that point, because your inspection period is also your due diligence period. It's part of
Right.
that whole deal. You can still back out. The next thing that I thought about is in reference also to when they're sellers and the situation is a little iffy with the sellers, meaning that maybe one person listed for sale. I'm talking from the legal standpoint now, and the title report is saying, oh, there's some issues here, that this might not be all the owners. There might be other owners out there. So you have to decide, do I want to wait till they sort out all of these things? Is it a real deal breaker, or is it just an orange flag instead of a red flag? I don't know. It depends on how quickly you would like to get the property. So sometimes when there are legal issues involved, it might take 3-4 months to get to a resolution for you to be able to do the closing. So that was another one that jumped out at me.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
mhm. And then the third deal breaker that I was thinking of is also in line with the location itself. Again, now, of course, we cannot guarantee that things won't change in the future, but if it's truly a deal breaker for you, don't do it just because the price is great and it's in the wrong part of town for you, right? It's too far for you. You're going to hate the road rage or whatever happens when you're driving to work every day.
Right.
Then
Or,
don't do it.
or maybe you're on a corner and you don't like to be on a corner, or,
True.
you know, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
I know another preference is a cul-de-sac, because it's not a
I like
through
that.
street. Cul-de-sacs are great. 'Cause what are people going to do? Are they going to speed up to stop?
Yeah.
So
Right.
a cul-de-sac forcefully slows down any driver, which is good. And I
True.
think that that's a really good uh, deal, something, a positive that I would look for.
Yes.
But anyway, you have some really great ideas, and I hope that together these three deal breakers and three must-haves are very helpful to you as you are looking for buying.
Yeah, I think so because
And
I'm sorry, continue.
no, no, I was just saying, and of course, if you want to ask for any more advice, you can always call us.
Yes, definitely. You should seek help. It helps to narrow down your search so that it's not overwhelming and so that it doesn't
Right.
become loosey-goosey, as they say, or confusing, where you just jump on this one and jump on that one because the price looks good. You know, the outside, the curb appeal looks good because they just put flowers outside. But what about your deal breakers, as Anna said? What about the foundation? What about the HVAC?
Right.
Which
Right.
is expensive. I just had to do mine
Right.
recently. And then what about the other things that we talked about today? So that keeps you grounded while you're doing your search. And of course, the money part also is important. So you could have a deal breaker that has to do with your budget. I hope this video is helpful. I think it will be helpful to people.
Yes.
Anything else?
I think we're good. And I really appreciate your insight on the legal items that come up whenever you're under contract. As far as being represented in the purchase, yes, we
Yeah.
do have an option period. We pay a small fee for that, and we get those
Yes.
inspections, and then we talk, you and I, and we decide if this purchase should still continue. And then at no cost to you, except for maybe a small fee, we can back out if the house is looking like it's not going to work, which is really helpful.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I'm very appreciative of having this information after looking at so many homes and touring with so many clients so
Mhm.
that we are able to really be a good resource.
Absolutely. I think the one that I left out that was truly like maybe a third one different from location is if you walk into a house, because you're going to walk the house with your agent, and you immediately see that it's in great disrepair. I'm not talking about regular wear and tear. I'm talking about neglectful. It looks like nobody has taking care of this house and it looks a little bit trashed, then you have to make a decision unless you're in for a project or a fixer upper. You have to make that decision on the spot. Is it a deal breaker for you if you need something that's closer to move-in ready?
Mhm.
Also, the thing that usually comes to mind when I see stuff like that is what else have they neglected to fix? What else am I going to be
Yeah,
fixing in future? So
right,
those are just my last minute thoughts, but I think this is cool that we're doing this, and it's good for people to know that you don't lose your earnest money if you back out within your option period.
correct, correct. There's a fee and then there's a deposit, and the deposit you get back as long as you follow the timeline, and that's what we're definitely following when you're being represented. So as far as any more advice or any help, we're always available. And as always, we work for you.
Thanks, Anna. We'll go ahead and put another video out soon. So you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Have a great weekend. Bye.